I want to talk to you guys for a minute here about church planting. Why is Wellspring, or why is any church called to be a church planting church? The first and obvious reason is it's biblical, and to me that's a no-brainer. We don't need a whole bunch of proof for me to run through the book of Acts to see that the way the early church reached regions for Jesus was through church planting. And let me just say, I long to reach the metroplex for Jesus Christ. I long to see broken families restored and addicted people healed and people saved and brought to Jesus and their lives transformed for generations to come. How does that happen? I believe church planting is the answer because we see all those things happening in the Scripture. Through church planting, I believe it's the same for us. It's biblical. But number two, church planting is effective. Let me ask you a question. What size church do you think reaches the most people for Christ? In my mind, I would have thought the biggest churches, the ones that are fast growing, are reaching the most people, the most unbelievers for Jesus, but that's actually not true. Did you know that statistically, 80% of new converts in America are actually born, again, through churches that are less than 2 years old? If we're not church planting, we're not reaching the lost. As one missiologist said, the single most effective church planting tool under heaven, the single most effective evangelistic tool under heaven is church planting. If we're not church planting, we're not reaching the lost. And it's really simple multiplication. What if, let's imagine here, what if Wellspring grew to 30,000 people, or even 60 or 80,000 people? What if that happened? That is a fraction, a very small fraction of the number of people in the Metroplex. Remember, our goal is not just to plant churches just for the fun of it. It is to reach this region for Jesus. And the only way we can do it is multiplication, not addition. Okay? Well, let me take you back to grade school for a moment here. Okay? What is 2 plus 2? 4, okay? Plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. 5 2s adds up to 10, right? If I got my math right. Let's do a little multiplication now. What is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2? It's 32. Times 2, 64. Times 2, 128. 256. 5, 12. I could keep going. It's a lot, and it really adds up fast when you're multiplying. The same is true of churches. If we just grow this body here, we can only grow so much. But if we are multiplying churches and all of those churches are adding to their number at the same time, that is multiplication. And that's what we read in the New Testament when it said the Lord added to their number. It wasn't just their number, the churches all across the world. That's why it was said of the early church that the world was turned upside down by Christianity. How? Through effective church planting. One more reason, and this one might surprise you why I believe we're called to church planting. It's in our DNA. The reason I say it might surprise you is because we haven't planted a church yet. Not officially anyways. A few church plants have come out of Wellspring, but we haven't planned to plant any churches, and so it's been 7 years, so how could you say it's in our DNA, Michael? Here's how. Because multiplication is in our DNA. On an individual level, Scott Manley poured into Jack Deere some decades ago, and look at the impact it's having. And Jack Deere poured his life into me, and our leadership team. We're pouring our lives into other individuals. On an individual level, multiplication is happening. Well, what is church planting? It's multiplication, only instead of being on an individual level, it's on a church level. But it's the same thing. Church planting is really just discipleship. We're actually really good at that. We have 80-year-olds discipling 40-year-olds who are discipling 20-year-olds who are discipling teenagers. We have that chain existing in our church. It's a set-out goal, a mission, a destiny of ours. And if it can happen on the individual level, it's so embedded in our DNA with a little bit of foreplanning and prayer, it will actually become reality for us, hopefully, in the near future. Wellspring is called to be a church planting church.